So first off, you're a sleep and fatigue specialist, according to your website. So I'd like you to tell me a little bit about that. What are the different variables that you look into when assessing a person's sleep quality?
Okay, so most of my work is actually with organizations that do shift work, really long work hours, or non-standard work hours. And it's usually with organizations that do some sort of safety critical operations, like in transportation, right? So pilots or their engineers who work on the aircraft, um, train conductors, train engineers, mariners, truckers, the people where if fatigue increases too high, it can cause some sort of terrible disaster, right? Now, part of that job is ensuring that the sleep that the people are getting is optimized. So, getting the best sleep that they possibly can to be able to fight fatigue and prevent fatigue as much as possible. I do lots of training, lots of consulting, but in a nutshell, that's what I do. So, the second part of your question was what factors do you look at when you're looking at sleep quality and sleep quantity? Did you mention sleep quantity in there too, or?
No, but I mean, if that's something that you look into, then I'm
Yeah.
definitely all ears.
Okay, so it's really important to remember that you have to balance sleep quality and quantity, right? So we're going to be talking about pillows. Uh, if you're sleeping on a really bad pillow, and I'll give you an example of one that I was on just a little while ago, went to a really nice hotel and I saw these big comfy pillows. They're all plush and beautiful, and they were just saying, Clint, come and sleep on me, please. I laid down, and because I think the thread count on the fabric was so high, so tight, that all the air in the pillow stayed in the pillow sack, really, right? The outer shell of the pillow. So when I laid down, all of the air puffed out to the sides, and the pillows ran up beside my face and squished the sides of my face and almost suffocated me. Okay. If I were to have slept like that all night long, sure, I might have gotten 8 hours of sleep. 7, 8 hours is about average and what most of us need. But if I wasn't breathing right because the pillow was squishing my face, I might have had poor quality sleep. So, in spite of getting 8 hours of sleep, I'd still wake up feeling crummy, feeling bad, feeling fatigued. If I was a safety critical operator of some sort flying a plane, I could be at risk that day. Yeah. So, we got to balance quality and quantity. Um, Quality is a little tricky because you have to look at the different sleep stages that people are getting, and you have to get the right amount of 4 different sleep stages. They're very boring names: stage 1, 2, 3, and REM sleep. But in a nutshell, all of this has to be really balanced out, right? So not just a good quantity, but a good quality of sleep, good quality, right amount of sleep stages. Other things that to look at when you're talking about quality is how many times you're waking up in the middle of the night, whether or not the sleep feels restless, and whether or not when you wake up and say 2 hours after waking up, you still feel bad. It's pretty normal to feel crummy when you first wake up. It's what we call sleep inertia. It takes
Mm-hmm.
your brain and body time to get into sleep. It takes your brain and body time to get out. So don't judge how you're sleeping right away when you
Okay.
wake up. Wait a couple of hours, and if you're still feeling really bad or fatigued or sick, malaise, whatever, then there's a chance you had poor quality sleep, even though you might have slept for 8 hours. Does that
Okay.
does that help? You got to balance quality and quantity. Some hallmarks of quality are number of awakenings, whether or not it feels restless, and how you feel a couple hours after waking up.
Yeah, that definitely explains it. So with your that anecdote you shared, I mean, we could all essentially get an idea of how important a pillow is to get better sleep. So what are some of the key factors to consider when selecting a pillow?
Okay, so first thing that everybody should remember is if you have a sleep problem, there's no pillow in the world that's going to solve that problem. Okay.
Okay.
So if you've got trouble sleeping a number of times a week, that is, you have to take a long time to fall asleep, or you're waking up frequently during the night and you can't get back to sleep, or if you're snoring, or if you've got the medical disorder called sleep apnea, where there's actual pauses in breathing, a pillow is not going to fix that.
Mm-hmm.
So the first rule to keep in mind is a good pillow will never make your sleep great.
Okay.
Second rule is a bad pillow can make your sleep bad. Okay, so a pillow can make your sleep worse. It's not going to create a sleep disorder, but it can ruin your that night of sleep. But a good pillow is not going to fix a sleep disorder or a sleep problem. Okay, so you'll see commercials out there that, I'm sleeping like 100 times better now because of this pillow. I'm so refreshed. I feel 20 years younger. That's just marketing material. That's not true. However, there are things to think about when selecting a pillow so that it doesn't ruin your sleep and actually enhances your sleep a little bit, right? It's never going to take bad sleep and make it perfect, but it can increase the sleep quality a little bit. And what it can definitely do is make it really bad. So you want to avoid going worse is really what we're trying to do, and enhance whatever sleep you're getting. So when selecting pillows, we usually refer to at least three different qualities of pillow, or components of a pillow. One is the pillow's loft, so how thick the pillow is, right? So if this is the bed, does the pillow only rise 3 inches, 6 inches, 8 inches, 12? That's loft. Okay. The next one is support. And where is it supporting you under your head and neck? And that varies depending on whether or not you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, or up on your front, on your stomach. And then we look at what's called, what we refer to as firmness, which is like the squishiness of the pillow. You want me to talk a little bit about how to kind of match these components to your sleeping position a little?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so one thing that pillows can play a pretty big role in is how well we breathe at night. A pillow is never going to create sleep apnea, that medical disorder where you stop breathing, but it can make your breathing inefficient.
Okay.
It can, if you're already a snorer, it can make your snoring a little bit worse, which snoring is not normal. Everybody thinks it is, but it's not normal. Snoring indicates inefficient breathing. And if you're snoring, even if you don't have sleep apnea, your brain can sense the inefficient breathing, and that may disrupt your sleep quality. Okay. So the way that pillows affect breathing is, do they open up your airway by bringing your head back a little bit and giving you more airway space, or do they crick your neck up so you can't breathe? Obviously, the best way is to keep use a pillow that keeps your neck sort of elongated. And if I was lying down, if we're doing a little bit different position, keeping your head back a little bit. Because if you bring your head back, you're actually opening up the airway a tiny bit.
Okay.
Definitely, if you're cricked up like this, you're constricting the airway, and that's not good. So that's one of the main influences of a pillow. If you're a side sleeper, you want to choose a pillow that has a slightly higher loft.
Okay.
Because you want it to, like if I'm lying on my side, you want it to rise underneath your neck and support your neck a little bit. And then keep your spine totally in line with your neck.
Okay.
Right? So sometimes you see these pillows and they've got a little hump on this area. So if you're lying down, your head doesn't go like this. It stays straight, and there's a little support area here. They're often like a teardrop type shape, or sometimes like if you're looking at the side profile, like a figure 8.
Okay.
So slightly higher loft, so it rises up under your neck. Good support, so that it contours to your head and neck. And when you lie on it, it doesn't squish too much. So not super. What's the opposite of firm? Squishy, not super squishy, right? Those are usually the best for side sleepers.
Okay.
Okay, a back sleeper, what you want is a little lower loft, so not as tall, because again, if I'm lying on my back and I've got a pillow with a large loft, it's going to bring my head up, and that's going to constrict the airway a little bit. So you can find the teardrop or the figure 8 ones are sometimes good for back sleepers if the loft isn't too tall, because they will have like a little roll that sits under your neck so that when you lie on it, your head kind of goes back a little bit like this, right? So now you've opened up the airway and you can breathe a little bit better. Again, support is important,
Mhm.
and not too squishy, because when you lie down, you want it to keep its shape a little bit.
Yeah.
The
So you mentioned certain qualities for certain kinds of sleepers. Um, is that more of, I guess, like a recommendation, or is would you say that it's still very much personalized depending on the person?
Yeah, so here's the overriding rule.
Mm-hmm.
The best pillow for you is the one you like the best.
Okay.
Right? So some people like a pillow that's a bit more firm. Some people like one a little bit more squishy. Some people like the material inside to be organic, like a buckwheat. Some people like the memory foam. Some people like the the cheap little poly foam for that from Walmart for $10.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's one of the really important things about sleep is that um, there's such a wide variety in people's preferences
Mm-hmm.
that what really matters is, do you feel that it's comfortable? And if it is comfortable, is it supporting your neck, your head in such a way as to ensure that your breathing is still efficient?
I see.
Yeah.
So taking all those factors into account, what do you think is like the best way for people to find their ideal pillow? Would you suggest that they really take the time to find their pillow in person rather than just shopping online? How would you suggest they go about that?
So there are some sleep stores that do pillow consultations.
Okay.
Now you got to be careful with those because remember, they're stores, they're not clinics.
Mm-hmm.
And their goal is to sell you an expensive pillow, right? To be a good pillow, it doesn't have to be expensive. I've got some that I bought from the department store for $5 that I love.
Mm-hmm.
I've got other ones that are really expensive memory foam ones that I don't like that much. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The best thing to do is, yeah, you might want to go in and have one of these consultations at one of the stores. But what I like to do best is find the cheapest pillow possible,
Mm-hmm.
try it out. If you don't like it, you've only spent $5 or $10 on it. Figure out what it is you don't like about it.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that it's supporting your breathing as well. It's not cricking your neck up, and then move up a notch. Try something a bit more expensive, a bit more sophisticated. Like the ones that are $5 or $10 are just that crushed. I think it's like a polyurethane foam of some sort, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
bits and pieces. Um, Moving up from there, you can get all sorts of different stuffings in the materials and pay hundreds of dollars for pillows. You don't have to. Start small and then figure out what you don't like about it, what you want out of a pillow that the pillow you have is not giving you, and then move up to the next one. Maybe spend $25. Then go to 40, 50, 60, 80, and then see what you'll get. That's the best
Okay.
approach.
So there is still a fair amount of trial and error involved.
Yeah, yeah. If, however, and that's for people who I would say aren't snoring and don't have
Mm-hmm.
any respiratory issues at night. If, however, you are snoring, uh, or you're wearing CPAP, the device that helps you breathe because of sleep apnea, then I would say skip the cheap pillows and go to something that is more contoured right away
Okay.
and keeps your neck and spine perfectly straight and your head back just a little bit.
I
Go to
see.
one of those right away, because anything else is probably just going to force your neck to bend in the wrong way, which will constrict your breathing. So jump in at like the $25 pillow instead of the $10 pillow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got that. That is actually my last question for today. Thank you so much for your time. Is there
Can I,
anything that you
yeah, can
want
I
to
add just a
mention?
couple of extra points?
Yeah, of course.
So one thing to consider is allergens.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's we're just more aware of them or we have more allergies nowadays. Um, but dust mites, unfortunately, really gross. They can be a problem in bedding. and there's a lot more people are allergic to the dust mite drippings, droppings, dust mite poo, really,
Mm-hmm.
than are aware of it. It doesn't. It normally doesn't congest you or make you terribly sick. But if
Okay.
we're talking about trying to optimize the sleep you're getting the best possible sleep you have, you don't want to be sleeping in something that's causing you an allergy, right?
Okay.
So if at all possible, buy a pillow that you can wash.
Okay.
Most of the times, these are the cheaper ones, the chunks of foam inside.
Mm-hmm.
And if it blows up in your washing machine, who cares? You've only lost $5 or $10. Wash your pillow at least once every 2 to 4 months.
Okay.
If you can't wash your pillow, and you should do this even with a washed pillow, change the pillowcase at least once a week.
Okay.
And change your bedding once a week as well. So pay attention to allergens. Dust mites are a good source of allergens. Some
Mm-hmm.
people are allergic to feathers. Some people are allergic to the mold that can be inside the buckwheat husk ones. Some
Mm-hmm.
people are allergic to the silicone stuff that's in some of the memory foam ones. So pay attention to the allergen side of things too.
Okay.
Can I add one more point? I know I'm giving you lots of information, but there's, you can filter it out and present whatever you want to present. One really important thing to consider is that your pillow shouldn't keep your head too warm.
Okay.
The reason is that when we sleep, our core body temperature drops a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
maybe about a half a degree, and some people maybe 3/4 of a degree. And that keeps the blood in our brain a little cooler.
All right.
It's easier to sleep when the blood in your brain is a little cooler. That's why we don't cover our heads when we're sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using a pillow that keeps your head too warm, it could be reducing your sleep quality a little bit.
I
So
see.
there's a couple of ways to keep your pillow a little cooler. A thin cotton pillow cover,
Mm-hmm.
not or a silk one maybe if you're not allergic to silk. Not the thick polar fleece ones that are so comfortable to lie in the winter. They keep your
Mm-hmm.
head a little bit too warm.
Okay.
Careful with the memory foam ones because they tend to run a little hot too. They suck the heat from your head and they store it in the pillow and then they give it back to your head.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you want to really have fun with the temperatures of pillows, try a pillow that's water filled. There's one I have on my website called the MediFlow pillow.
Mm-hmm.
Water is a good heat conductor,
Okay.
but not a good heat insulator. So it pulls heat out of your body,
Mm-hmm.
dissipates it in the water, and then sheds it off the pillow. So it can keep you a little cooler. So
Okay.
summarize those last 2 points. Careful of allergens. Keep your pillow nice and clean. Keep your pillowcase nice and clean, as all your bedding as well. And a cooler pillow is better than a warmer pillow.
I see. So for those pillows that have, I know that there are some on the market that really do offer warming properties. People should exercise caution with those.
Yes, because it's creating the exact opposite state that your brain wants to be in. Although they're nice and comfortable and
Mm-hmm.
soothing, and they might be good if if you're sick and you needed that little extra warmth or a little extra soothingness, or just for relaxing on, they'd be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you really do want your head to be a little cooler at night rather than warmer.
I see. That's extremely helpful. I didn't even think that would be a factor at all, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
Thank
It
you so
is.
much for bringing that up.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Clinton.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye.